Welcome back to the Magnetic Marketing Podcast. If this is the very first time you're here with us, welcome. We're excited to have you. In this episode, we're going to be listening to Dan Kennedy and Dave D. And we're going to be learning specifically about how to create a compelling message that your ideal prospects are powerless to resist. Now, that compelling message comes in two parts: your unique selling proposition and an irresistible offer. Do not get the two confused one for another. Each one is different, and when you're building each one, there are specific rules you should be following, and that is what Dan Kennedy is going to be revealing to us in this episode. Now, as you know, many of these episodes are provided to you free from the archive. This is actually taken out of the archives of what's available to people when they become a member. So if you like listening to this, definitely check out diamondupgrade.com, where you can find even more strategies on creating your unique selling proposition and an irresistible offer to make your ideal prospects powerless. Let's jump in.
I don't think there's anybody that has had a bigger impact in the field of direct response than Dan Kennedy.
The legend of Dan Kennedy should be ignored at your own peril.
They're not really lessons, they're kind of laws that you live by.
Dan opened my eyes to what small business marketing looks like.
Dan teaches strategic direct response that is timeless.
His ripple effect touches people who don't even know his name.
The world as we know it was changed because Dan Kennedy became obsessed with marketing.
Welcome to the Magnetic Marketing Podcast with your host, Dan Kennedy.
Welcome to Magnetic Marketing, how to create a compelling message your ideal prospects are powerless to resist. Now, when creating a compelling message, your goal is to attract just the right person to make them stop and say, hey, that product or service is right for me. So, Dan, let's discuss exactly how you go about doing that. And the perfect place to start with this would be with what is called the USP. What is a USP?
Unique selling proposition or unique selling position. And I have a copyrighted question for it, which is, why should I do business with you versus any and every other option available to me in your category, including doing nothing?
Okay, can you repeat it again a little slower? Because
sure.
That was, yeah.
Why?
Session number 3.
Why should I do business with you versus any and every other option available to me in your category, including doing nothing?
Okay.
All right? And so, sort of now that you have it, then people go, well, great, how do I get one, right? And so, you know, there's pathways to a USP, but linking to session 2 backwards, the best USPs are always, at least in part, driven by the target market that has been selected to receive them.
Right. And what they want.
Well, exactly.
Right.
So, you know, the old example that we've used for years, and then I pulled together 4 or 5 pathways. But the example that I've used for years was the original Domino's USP, which built Domino's from, you know, one failing pizza joint, kid going to college, to pretty quick to a major player in that industry. And it was fresh, hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or less, guaranteed. Okay? Now, I joke about it, but it is significant that all of the early Domino's locations, including the first one, were adjacent to, they were in college towns, and they were basically adjacent to college campuses. Hence, you had, now you have everybody doing it, you had, it's interesting how laws change, you had buildings full of people all smoking the same illegal substance. One of the side effects was a need for large quantities of carbohydrates in a hurry that did not necessarily have to taste good or taste better than anybody else's carbohydrates. The issue was speed, and most of the people who needed them were not in a position to go get them. So 30 minutes or less.
I don't even know what you're talking about. You're
30
so
minutes
well
or
veiled.
less. 30 minutes or less.
Yes.
Guaranteed was built for the target market that was being served at the time. And you don't have anything in the USP about good,
right,
great, better, Mama's recipe from the old country, only use organic ingredients, only use milk from cows who only eat natural stuff. None of that's there because that target market doesn't care, right? And so the best USPs are at least in part considerate of a target market. Okay. And so, I mean, pathways, if you want to talk about that.
Let's talk about how we get there.
So, first of all, you think about positioning and differentiation in a marketplace.
Can I just ask you a question first? So, a lot of people get this mixed up. What's the difference between a slogan versus a USP? A lot of people think they've got a USP, but it's really a slogan. It's a catchphrase.
A slogan is stupid and a USP is smart.
Okay. Fantastic. That cleared that up. Let's move on.
Clear that up. Well, so first of all, a lot of sloganism, you see it in big corporations, again, about which we must be very careful of emulating. In many cases, you see it in businesses that are unwilling to actually have a point of differentiation. So you see big financial services companies who, for a variety of reasons, are unwilling to actually try and differentiate themselves. So their sloganism is big, broad, fuzzy, warm feeling, and therefore sort of meaningless. What I call vague generalities rather than meaningful specifics, right? So they are unwilling to say, for example, we will guarantee you won't run out of money before you run out of life. Right? So they say vaguer, broader, sloppier things. Okay? Sloganism is almost always product-driven, not market-driven. So it is all about who they are and what they got. We're the oldest, we're the best, we're the smartest, we're the biggest, we're the, So if you think about Hertz's slogan, for years and years and years and years, right, was we're number one. Right. There's really nothing there that is particularly meaningful to a marketplace. No. Now, to a certain segment of the marketplace, there is a customer who always prefers to deal with whoever is number one. Right. But the vast majority of the marketplace doesn't care, and there's no benefit in that. There's no consumer promise in that. There's really nothing interesting in that. And to a certain degree, it'll also turn off a certain number of people because I don't know that I really like you telling me that you're number one. Right. You know? So that's a slogan. A unique selling proposition is really nationals right now. Which is beautiful. Which is pick any car, get in and go.
And they're targeting the business. Yeah. The business pro, right?
So they have a unique selling proposition. Right. Enterprise has a unique selling proposition. We'll pick you up. Right. Okay? So that's the difference between a USP and a slogan. Fantastic. Now, I could make any of those better, by the way, but that's really not the case. So if you look at pathways, one is positioning. Position what it is you do or sell different than everybody else in that category positions it. One of the great and ironic and funny examples of our time is what Subway did now 11 years ago or so when Jared wandered in their door and somebody was not so corporate stupid as to pat him on the head and send him on his way. And so Subway changed their positioning from another fast food alternative to a weight loss program. So they have managed to convince people that a foot-long loaf of bread cut in half with processed lunch meat and a few vegetables is weight loss food. Right? Which is remarkable that they have pulled it off. Very recently, Taco Bell tried it with far less success. But they've done it with Subway, and it's had legs. It's lasted for a decade. Right? And it's kind of neat. It hasn't completely evaporated now.
No, and it's kind of neat if you want to talk about positioning. And at the time that we're creating this, they've positioned even a little bit more now. They have athletes in it, so they've got celebrity spokespeople. So this is what, not only to lose weight, this is what healthy people, athletes eat.
Well, this is the official training diet of so-and-so, right? You will notice a goodly number of those athletes are no longer competing. They are ex-athletes, but nonetheless. So another...
Not because they were eating Subway, by the way. for our
they
legal
may be able to eat Subway because they are no longer competing, but we don't know that.
That's right.
So you're sticking in disclaimers now.
I'll put in disclaimers.
You're actually putting in disclaimers now? The corporate influence. So, another pathway is speed. Okay? So if you can do it fast, all the way back to 30 minutes or less guaranteed. So you see companies like 3-day blinds. Right? Same-day dentures or same-day implants in dentistry. Very big thing. The dermatologist I was with the other day, their practice, the acne scar curative process is proprietary and patented, and it requires only 2 visits. And it's named Fast Scar Cure. So that's a speed proposition, right? A guarantee proposition. Again, Domino's had that too, 30 minutes or less guaranteed. We have a member who's a very smart marketer, and he does all the marketing for men's health clinics. You will see their ads increasingly in more and more marketplaces across the country. And men's health clinics' primary product service has to do with fixing erectile dysfunction. And their guarantee promise is you will have a test experience in the office with the chemical formula we mix up for you, and you will know that it works. Right? And no other medical, nobody. It's a unique guarantee position. Try before you buy. Okay, so our mattress friends here from Gardner's Mattress, who are in the front row, created, somewhat influenced by another member of ours, a co-author of mine, Sydney Barrows, created what they call their dream room. So the normal method of shopping a mattress, everybody owns a mattress, so you've all done it, right? You go into a store, there's 6 bazillion mattresses. You lay on this one for 3 minutes. You lay on this one for 3 minutes. 9 out of 10 times, by the 3rd night you're sleeping on it, it doesn't feel exactly like it did in the 3-minute trial in the store. People are really sort of reluctant to lay on it like they would really lay on it in full view of everybody. So they've created a dream room that for an hour, 3 hours, kind of whatever you want. And it looks like, it's kind of like an upscale hotel room. And you pick the bed, they move the bed in there, and there's a TV, and you go in there, and you experience a mattress in a real environment for a long enough period of time that it is a legitimate, so it's try before you buy. Right? There's personal relevance is another pathway, which gets to message to market match all the way back to the product. So a generic product is a nutritional formula to help your eyesight. Ocuvita sells one, Bausch & Lomb sells one. If you go into the big health food chain, what's the name of the health food? Thank you. If you go into a GNC store, there's probably 20 or 30 varieties of vitamin formulations to help protect or improve your vision. There is one company that has a product positioned to protect and improve the vision of airline pilots. Wow. And they market it only target market to airline pilots via media that are read by airline pilots, both commercial and recreational subculture private. So you fly your own plane just because you want to. I fly my plane because I work for American Airlines and it's my career. What we have in common is we'll lose our license if our eyesight deteriorates. Therefore, the criticality is more important to us than it is to somebody that just wants to see television and be able to find their dog. Therefore, they'll pay more for it. So it has price elasticity.
And it's also, it's for me. Right?
Exactly.
It's for me.
Exactly.
It's specifically for me.
Now, truth be told, it's the same nutrients. Right? And it's the same ratio of, But because of personal relevance, we've taken a generic product and we've given it a unique selling position. Those are some of the pathways.
One of the things I want to point out here, and I think a lot of people listen to this, and their immediate reaction is, and this is a lot of people's immediate reaction is, well, my business is different. This is not going to work for me. How do I apply it if I'm a butcher, baker?
Well, there's actually two really crappy reactions that are possible, not just the one you named. So one horrible reaction is, well, my business is different, so I haven't heard veterinary medicine only for small animals in a small town in the Northwest mentioned. Therefore, this doesn't apply to me, and unless you tell me there's a template in here for a cat veterinarian in a small town, this isn't for me. So there's that reaction. The other one is, my business is ordinary and mundane, and there's no way for me to use unique sales proposition.
Which is the exact reason why you need to use it.
Which is, so here so far is what we've named. We've named mattresses, vitamins, sub-sandwiches, dentistry, Venetian blinds, and pizza.
Right.
How much more mundane and ordinary would you like to be?
Right.
The very point of getting to a compelling message, a message that cannot be ignored, and then to get to an offer that cannot be resisted. But to get to a message that cannot be ignored is taking an ordinary business and finding a way to position it so it is extraordinary and of exceptional interest to somebody.
Right.
And so to sit there and say that you can't do that because you sell something ordinary, it's exactly the point. And to say that you can't do it because your business is different, well, find one that this hasn't touched.
Right.
You name me one, and I'll go find you someone who has found a way to make it extraordinary and to target point it. So what's more mundane than coffee?
Correct.
So we have Denny's. We have the convenience store. We have Starbucks. We have Dunkin' Donuts. We have a Mr. Coffee pot machine at home that you can make a pot of coffee. We have now, which Carla has, taught me to use, we have the little machine with the little thing you put in and it makes one cup at a time. And you have a drawer with 86 different flavors. And so we have that, There's some overlap of customer, but by and large, the Starbucks customer is a different customer than the Dunkin' Donuts customers, who's a different customer than the Denny's customer. They're a different customer than the person who stops every day to get their coffee at the convenience store. It's coffee. It's brown water. You can go all the way to the top of that spectrum. It's in the Marketing the Affluent book. It's like the best price elasticity example that I know because it's most fun. There is a coffee. What is it called? Civet. So Civet coffee is like $60 to $80 a pound, and it is coffee grounds that are made from cat poop. Coffee beans are eaten by a cat and pooped out the other end by a cat, and that's turned into coffee that people want to buy for $60 to $80 a pound and brew.
And who wouldn't?
You probably wouldn't. I probably wouldn't.
But there are people
But there are enough people to do it that there's at least 6 companies making it. The last I checked, 30, 40 e-commerce sites selling it. It's a big business. So, but it's coffee, and in this case, it's cat poop. How much more mundane would you like to get? By the way, when I first heard about this, I went home and kicked the dog. You're not producing anything here that we can monetize. So now we're going to get email from dog lovers.
We're going to get emails from a lot of people.
So there are more pathways, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
In your kit.
Absolutely.
So there's lots of ways to get to a unique sales proposition.
And so for somebody out there saying, well, it doesn't apply to my business, what I would say is that you're just kind of being lazy in your thinking, and you're not really putting in it. So let's get somebody past that. Why is this important? How does this change the business if I get this right?
Well, it can allow you to sell coffee for $6 a cup, as in Starbucks' case. So it can give you price and profitability advantage in a world that is all about price suppression to the point of bankruptcy. And so we see in category after category after category, we see price suppression these days. Okay? If you look at what I paid for my first car, and you look at what you can go buy a comparable car for today, and you calculate against the inflation that has occurred during that period of time, the price has gone down, not up.
Right.
And they're going down. If you look in our world, even in the seminar world,
right,
and you look at, so I just looked at it yesterday for a particular reason. So in 2002, my seminar for chiropractors was $2,495 a person to attend. 2002. Most marketers of seminars to chiropractors today are priced under $1,000.
Right.
So it isn't the rate of inflation. They've actually gone backwards.
Right.
Right. So it can help you with price. It can help you with customer attraction by being profoundly for certain people rather than being sort of for everybody, which means you're sort of for nobody.
Sure.
Right? So if you think about a business like Costco, right? So Costco, yes, you might go to Costco, I might go to Costco, but who's really the Costco customer? Large family, modest income. Because you and I are not really going to buy 55-gallon drums of peanut butter.
Right.
Okay? You at this point would be more prone than I am because you now actually do have, what do you got, 2 families?
Five
Families, 5 kids.
Yeah.
But they're not all in one, so you'd have to divvy the peanut butter up.
I'd have to divvy the peanut butter. It would be a whole nightmare.
But I mean, I'm not, Carla and a dog. I'm not buying a 55-gallon drum of peanut butter. I don't want to buy 12 jars of mustard shrink wrapped together, all the same flavor. This is not for me. Right. But if you got 5 kids,
right,
and they're all growing and eating,
right.
So like my daughter has 3, and they're all growing and eating.
Right.
Costco's perfect for her, right? And so it allows you to be for somebody rather than to be for everybody, which largely places you in the world of sort of being for nobody, right?
Absolutely.
It allows you to do more interesting marketing. Because you have a better message.
Right.
So it brings all sorts of benefits to you that people who refuse to conquer it simply don't have and can't ever have.
Yeah, and so take the time to go through the resources that we give you here. You can do it, all right? Maybe your first USP isn't spectacular, but it's better than having no USP at all. Dan, when people are developing, so that's just one part of the compelling message, which is USP. When people are developing their marketing messages, one of the mistakes that they make, and if you could just comment on a little bit, is they focus so much on their product, as opposed to the result or the outcome that the buyer is going to get.
So if you look at almost everybody's advertising in general and in whatever category you're in, you're going to find everybody talking about a relatively small range of things. Product or service, what we got, what we sell. Features and benefits. It's made out of plastic, and that's why it's good. Okay? It's stitched instead of glue bound, and that's why it's good. Okay? Features and benefits. Right? By the way, if you see buy one suit and get 47 free, they're not stitched. They're put together with a glue gun. So product, service, features, benefits, price, discounts. Right? 80-90% of the conversation is that. Right? So if we didn't know anything, we would know not to do that because 80-90% of everybody is doing that, which A, means it's very hard for us to stand out, stand apart, be noticed, and C, the majority is always wrong about money. They're poor, so we don't want to copy them. Right? So we want to have a different conversation. We either want to start with, which I know you're going to get to in segment 4, the lead generation conversation, where we aren't talking really about us at all. Right? Or, as you just said, we want to have an outcome conversation and work backwards.
Right.
So again, it's fresh in my mind. So the people from the dermatologist practice who were with me, actually I also had State of Oklahoma's Secretary of Commerce to recruit businesses to come to Oklahoma. I had Oklahoma in my office recently for a consulting day. And
you have a very large office.
And this, and this. They're not with,
No, it's not right, though.
Yeah?
Sorry.
There was laughter in the hinterlands. So they're both doing the same thing.
Right.
Okay? Their literature, all their stuff is all about the things I just named, right? So Oklahoma's talking about how many tax grants they got available and the training programs they have for employees, and they got empty land, which pretty much is not a secret, but, all that. These guys are talking about they got laser and they got red laser and blue laser and they got this and they got that. And worse, and here's how much we charge for this, and here's how much we charge for that. And it's all so horribly premature, right? And so horribly common. Because really what I want is the outcome, right? I want to look 10 years younger than I look now, and I want all my scars to be gone. And candidly, I don't really care how you do it, right? At least until I know you can do it, right? So, and really, I want it bad enough if what you're going to do is hang me upside down by my ankles in a vat of blue gunk, and 4 people are going to stand around and hum, and that's actually going to do it, it's okay by me, right? And people don't get that. See, business people don't get that because they're so focused on their thing, right? And not focused on their customer and what that customer wants.
Right, exactly.
And all the way back to your questions and why the questions are important, even in one-on-one selling. So you can take the questions that you alluded to in the previous segment. We talked about, even if you are going to go work a consumer show booth or a trade show booth, for example, if you would ask 4 or 5 questions first and then tailor your message to the answers. I have this whole story I tell about why for 4 years in a row, I didn't buy I went to the consumer show every year, the home show, and I didn't buy the big whiz-bang, turn your closet into the, perfectly organized 56 shoe shelves and, the electric tie thing and all that. They come in and they do your closet, right? Because nobody asked a question. If you were going to do this, why would you want to do it?
Why would you want to do it? What are you looking for? What's most important to you?
Because I have a wife who objects to piles of clothes on the floor, right? And would really like it. Which then the tailored message is, do you have an anniversary or birthday coming up? Great, here's what we can do. We got this great gift card. We can put it in a box with a little plastic replica of a closet, just like we're going to build it. We can, right? And so now you can sell me what I want. Right? Instead,
great example.
Everybody's talking to me about what I don't give a rat's ass about.
Or they're talking about the components of it.
It's made of burl wood, and it's
right.
I want a happy wife.
Right.
Now, if that thing will get it, hang me upside down by my ankles in the blue gunk, I'm fine, right? And I had the same conversation with Oklahoma. It's all, here's what we got, here's the features and the benefits, here's money conversation. Well, wait a minute, what does somebody really want? Right? Well, if we target the kind of business owner who might relocate to Oklahoma in the first place, who actually objects to taxes, objects to government interference, what is he? He's a Limbaugh listener. Who owns a company. There's a psychographic profile to him. So what's most appealing to him? A really pro-business conservative governor who takes a whack at Obama every week. That's what's appealing to him. He wants to live still in the great frontier, where that's what he wants, right? But they're not selling that.
That's right. Wow. So that leads right into creating the irresistible offer. So what? First of all, what is the irresistible offer? And then what are the components that make up an irresistible offer?
So where most marketers stop, even if they build a good message, is they end with no offer. Right? Or they end with a very vanilla, almost kind of apologetic, well, if you want to come in, here's where you could come in, right? They don't...
Almost like they're embarrassed by it.
They don't even have an offer, right? So if you want to boil the difference of direct response marketing and all other marketing down to one thing, it is the existence or absence of offers. Right? So we're doing this right before the Super Bowl, which I think we're not allowed to mention.
Actually, I'm not a lawyer. I only play one on video. you can actually say that. What they're trying to make you believe that you can't, but as I understand it, you can. So you just can't say that you can't make it sound like you're an official sponsor.
Well, so Colbert all week has been doing the superb owl coming up because he can't say Super Bowl. But in any case, so we're doing this right before Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people tune in to the Super Bowl to see the commercials.
Yeah.
Even more so than see the game, right? 90% of these commercials will have no offer.
Right.
None. Therefore, there's no way for anybody to know whether it did anything.
Which is the ad agencies.
And they may spend
love that.
$2 million.
The ad agencies.
Oh, the ad agencies don't. They hate direct response.
Right.
Because you can tell if it did something, right? So you will see very few direct response offers. You will see here's a website. Okay, so the Buick ad will have a website on it, but it won't be, go to this website, take a 7-minute test drive, download a free this, that, or the other thing, and get a coupon to come in. And if you come in for a test drive within 10 days of the Super Bowl, you get a Super Bowl souvenir shirt. Okay? You are not going to see that.
Right.
Right? In part, as you just said, their agencies talk them out of it.
Right.
Right? So offer is important. Then, as long as we're going to do one, let's build an irresistible offer, right? Which an irresistible offer is exactly what it says. It's got so much cool stuff in it. It's got so much relevant information to the audience. So it's got information value, or it's got entertainment value, or it's got deliverable value that does not require me to buy your product or service necessarily to get value. It's got all those things added together. If you're selling rather than generating leads, then the offer itself. So one of the greatest old examples is what built Vegas World from the ground up in Las Vegas. It's currently the Stratosphere. At the end of the Strip was Bob Stupak's offer, which was a one-step sale, ads, direct mail, etc., which was 3 days, 2 nights, as the travel people always say it. So 3 days, 2 nights at a hotel. So your room, all the booze you want to drink, whether you're in the lounge or at the gambling tables. You don't pay for any booze, which really appealed to my relatives. All the booze you want to drink, a couple of meals, meal in the steakhouse, meal in the buffet, 2 show tickets, a couple of gift with purchase, either that you got or that you were in a drawing for. You got 1 spin of the big $1 million wheel that you might win $1 million worth. And most importantly, the offer for $368, you got $650 worth of money to gamble with. So you pay $368, you got everything I just named, plus you get $650 to gamble with.
Right.
Now, this is an irresistible offer, particularly to stupid people, because they say, I'll take the $650, I'll put half on red, half on black, I'll immediately turn it into real money. And of course, his roulette wheel had 22 green zeros on it, so that kind of changed but the offer was literally irresistible.
Right.
You look at it, you went, why would I not
take advantage of
this? You'd be insane not to do this.
Right.
And so there's lots of ways to build irresistible offers. So to a lot of people, for example, for vacations, the all-inclusive, the cruise ship on land.
Right.
You'll see sandals commercials. Mm-hmm. You come to our resort, we pick you up at the airport in a Rolls Royce, we take you to the place, you don't leave, and everything's included in this price. There's 9 restaurants, there's food, there's entertainment on the beach, everything's included. So that is an irresistible offer to a lot of people.
Right.
To other people who don't want to be locked into one hotel and not able to go, it's not a very it's a very resistible offer. So an irresistible offer has a value build.
Okay.
It has a presentation of price if we are going to ask people to give us money for it. Right? It has a deadline or urgency because it has to go away. It has a clear call to action and response instruction. And the value build needs to be as big as we can build the value and be able to afford making the offer.
Right. And so people who watch the presentation, this is actually the training, but the sales presentation to sell magnetic marketing, you'll see that we've actually built it up to $100,000. And by the way, that's the truth because, the copyright-free documents in here that you could take a model are worth more than $100,000.
If you picked any complete campaign,
right,
multimedia, multi-step campaign,
right,
and you got a B-level copywriter to do it from scratch,
right,
you're probably spending $25,000, give or take. If you get an A-level copywriter, you're probably spending $75,000, give or take.
Right.
If you get me, you're spending $150,000.
Right. Yeah.
So
exactly.
that's for one complete campaign.
Yeah. So the point is that we built. That's exactly what we do here. So we build it up high. We add in a whole bunch of bonuses.
I assume there's also a ton of bonuses.
There's a ton of bonuses, and there's a deadline. So we're practicing what we preach, and you need to do that too. So Dan, can you just quickly go over those components once again, just so for people who weren't taking notes?
The actual value build, the presentation of price, if in fact there is price.
Okay.
Because if it's a free offer, that's not the issue. Deadline or other urgency, there's only 18. There's, for some reason, there's urgency. A clear call to action and response instruction. Now, you mentioned bonuses, so gift with purchase, which many people credit to Estee Lauder, but that's not the case. It predates Estee Lauder by a lot. But gift with purchase, meaning you buy this and you get this for free. Gift with purchase, keep gift even if you return product, is an extension of gift with purchase.
Right.
Stupak did gift with purchase almost every one of those offers. So on top of everything I just described, you picked a free fake diamond ring or a free flashy Vegas watch or a free 35-millimeter camera, which nobody wants that now, but a camera. So usually they had 3 or 4 choices of gifts, which were only if you respond within by this date and or you're one of the first 50 in Parma, Ohio to pick, right? So gift with purchase. And gift with purchase is not just for the low end of the marketplace.
Absolutely.
I pulled, so this is from a recent Marketing the Affluent letter, one of the newsletters that members have access to. Spindler sent it to me, by the way. We were talking to Darren earlier. So there's a company called Intrav, and they do tours by private jet. So you book your tour, you go with no more than 20 other couples, and the whole thing is private. They have customized Boeing 757s that they fly you around in. Right? The fee for the base fee per couple is $99,950, and that's like I don't know how many days it is. I don't want to suck up our time, but it's X number of days. It's 5 countries. It's some exotic stuff. You get to ride the elephant in India and so forth. Okay, and what you get as your gift is you get to keep the custom iPad we've made for you for your entertainment while you're on the plane.
Right.
Okay, because we have talked to you about what movies you want to watch. We have loaded your iPad with everything you want to do, and by the way, you get to keep it. Now, anybody dropping $99,950 for a vacation, they probably got an iPad.
Right.
They don't need an iPad.
Right.
But it's still a nice touch.
Right.
Pinehurst, which is an upscale resort, golf, country club, whatever, they have a joint venture with Acura, the car company, and they have packages that include your use of an Acura while you are there. So you can go into town and drive around, and if you want to play golf and she wants to go into town and shop, she has the use of the Acura.
Nice.
Right? Gift with purchase.
Right.
And in their case, they've been smart enough to get it for free by venturing with Acura.
Right. So the question that you need to be asking yourself is, how can I create an irresistible, compelling offer? And don't get that confused with just creating your USP or creating your message. Because as Dan said, a lot of people will develop a great message.
And it stops
before there's an offer. So there's more than one piece to this puzzle. You've got to develop you got to have a great message, but then you got to have a great offer at the end of that. And by the way, as you were mentioning, when we get into lead generation in the next session, you don't have to have a price on the offer.
No, many lead generation offers are often free.
Right.
They don't have to be, but they're often free.
Although you often build up the price anyway, even though it's free, which we'll get into. We do have some questions from folks, so let's jump to those. A question from Enrique Gonzalez Ortega, who says, do we need to make major changes to the psychology of lead generation when addressing different types of cultures and races?
Major? No.
Okay.
And magnetic marketing system users who have provided evidence of great results exist in at least 30, 32, 33 countries.
Oh, absolutely. But we have guys in the U.S. who did it in Spanish.
Yeah,
who
we're focused on that Spanish marketplace. And so the word major certainly does not apply. Nuanced, yes, but that's not unique to race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation. The same nuances apply to age, geography. So a person that fits the exact same demographic profile, whether they're Hispanic or not, and lives in Tennessee and has lived in Tennessee for, say, 10 years or longer, if you wish to speak to them differently than that exact same person who lives in Los Angeles and has lived there for 10 years or longer. So it's not a unique issue about ethnicity. It applies the same to that as it does to other ways to slice and dice a market and target market.
Right, exactly. We got another question here from Want to Rock.
What?
Want to Rock. That's right. Okay, Want to Rock says, I own a franchise service business, and all our advertising material is all from corporate and very regulated. You say it works in all businesses. I'm having a hard time knowing how to apply it to our standard mail pieces and corporate-controlled websites.
You pretty much can't.
Next question.
You pretty much can't. If anything, you can apply it on the back end after you already have a customer or after you already have a lead. So we have quite a few members who are parts of franchise organizations. Titanium Mastermind member of mine, Steve Adams, owns 21 or 22 pet stores. He is within a franchisor. So this is not a unique situation. A similar question will come from, say, financial advisors about their corporate compliance department. You'll get it from chiropractors about state regulatory boards, et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing somebody has to determine is really how restricted they actually are versus how they just easily accept that they are. So does it mean that you have to use the corporate website, or does it mean because they give you the corporate website, quote, quote, for free as part of the percentage of the gross you're paying them, you don't want to incur the cost and trouble and aggravation of going and building your own website? Well, so if it's the first answer, those are real handcuffs. If it's the second answer, that's you now being cheap and slothful and stupid. So you got to decide where you really are. Okay? So like almost everybody tells me about the legal stuff and the compliance stuff, they draw a line that is far short of where the actual letter of the law is. And when pressed and we discover and we go to compliance departments, we find that they've put the line way too short, right? Then if you are totally hamstrung and restricted, you just have to decide if the compensating benefits justify living with that and living with essentially bad marketing. So if I own 16 McDonald's franchises and they are perpetual motion money machines, so I have a friend who owns a bunch of Wendy's. All the franchise owners hate them. The corporate advertising is bad. They all know it. But they're basically lazy. They certainly are not going to chuck the thing and start their own. And there's a lot of benefits to the corporate parent. Fine. If there's not enough compensating benefit, then you got to think about, do I leave the franchise network and become independent? Do I leave this financial services company and go to a different financial services company that has a different compliance department? So, these are legitimate concerns that are often given much more power than they actually have.
And one of the things that you casually mentioned was use it on the back end. So I don't want to give people the impression that magnetic marketing is just for the front end at all, because it's not.
This takes you, magnetic marketing is not only about attracting people to you, but attracting them to come back again and again and again. So, for example...
Well, so if you look at Steve Adams' business,
right.
Okay, the franchisor meddles a lot in the main brochure, the main website, all that. They really don't meddle much in what he does once he has a customer because, A, they don't know how to do that. B, they don't really think that's their job, right? And so pretty much he's left alone over there.
That's right.
And you can do a lot over there.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Thank you for listening to the Magnetic Marketing Podcast with Dan Kennedy. If you love hearing in on these lost Dan Kennedy talks and speeches and calls, then please let someone else know about this podcast. That's how you can help it to grow. And the more it grows, the more free Dan Kennedy we can bring to you. Also, Dan would love to give you the most incredible free gift ever, designed to help you make maximum money in minimum time. Now, this free gift comes with almost $20,000 in pure money-making information for free just for saying maybe. You can get this gift from Dan right now at nobsletter.com. Not only will you get the $20,000 gift, you're also going to get a subscription to 2 marketing newsletters that will be hand-delivered by the mailman to your mailbox each and every month. One from Dan Kennedy and one from me, Russell Brunson. To get this gift and your subscription, go to nobsletter.com right now.